Hi, you're watching the mainstream. I am Simran Shivalkar, your host for today, and we are at the DevOps Conclave 2025. I'm joined by Mr. Prasanna Raghavendra. Firstly, Prasanna, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Simran.
The pleasure is totally ours. That being said, let me take a quick moment to share a few things about Prasanna. To begin with, he's a senior director for R&D, site leader, and also director for engineering at JFrog India. He's also a technology leader, a product strategist with a proven track record in building world-class DevOps platforms. At JFrog, he plays a pivotal role in empowering developers and organizations to scale securely with expertise spanning observability and software engineering, AI, cloud technologies, and R&D leadership. Prasanna, I'm truly thrilled to lead this conversation. So without any further ado, let's begin. I'm aware that in your session, you have spotlighted on some of the key aspects when we talk about AI and DevOps today. Also on de-risking AI, the practicality of AI augmented software engineering in India especially. Can you tell us a little bit more about how do you see this innovation or how do you see AI coming into the picture and changing the landscape in the next few years?
Sure, Simran. See, what is happening is, it's a ironical situation we are in. AI is really solving hard problems, right? There is GitHub project called SW Bench, which basically creates problems for AI to solve.
Correct.
Right? And in 2023, only 1% of these problems were getting solved, right? Using the existing technology in AI. Today, they've reached 75%. Right? So that means there is an technology ability to do it. Right? And this is also leading a lot of board executives to push AI investment into the company.
Correct.
Right? That's happening across industry in India, globally as well. But the irony is, the CISOs do not have all the equipments to actually handle this change. Right? So that's the irony we are in. So there is one technology doing well, but we don't know how to adopt it. Right? In a production centric way, right? And that's really the context we are in, right? So in that context, what we are doing is to kind of meld the learning we had with software delivery lifecycle into AI. If we don't do it, otherwise this becomes an independent flow and we will start losing steam, right? And that's exactly what we are trying to do at JFrog.
Fantastic.
Right? And on top of it, while we were doing it, in fact, it kind of looks like a scope creep for us. We have now AI agents. We used to serve developers. Now there is new animal called AI agent we need to serve as well. And they going to create even more ruckus because they can wake up anytime, 24/7. The scale is not a problem for them. And they can do releases like zillions.
Correct.
Right? Earlier we used to do, in my age, 1 year, one release. DevOps brought it to 2 weeks, 1 week. Now it will be every second, multiple releases. Now the question then is, are we prepared? Do we have technology? Do we have platform which can manage this? Right. So that's one piece which JFrog is trying to address from two perspectives. One is what we are calling as the release that we just did is called JFrog AppTrust. Right. What it does is when you are scaling this way, you cannot be losing sight on the security issues.
Right.
There may be vulnerable models you are releasing, right? There may be a wrong dependency you are releasing. Because when you start doing it fast, all of this will, start, entering into your system.
Right.
So AppTrust is built exactly to solve that.
Wonderful.
Right? So that's one. The second thing is we are looking at making sure what we get into the system is always clean. Right? So for that we have built something called AI Catalogue.
Right.
AI Catalogue is like a firewall, right? Any model that comes in will be validated against your policy and make sure it is approved or not.
Right.
Before anyone in your organization can use it, right? So that's the second change. AppTrust on cycle by, AI Catalogue on the entry point, right? So for that, we are bringing something called AI remediation. Right? How quickly you can find them and fix them.
Right.
And for that, we have partnered with GitHub and we are doing because GitHub is where code happens.
Right.
We are integrating and making sure, we kind of reflect back on it saying, hey, the model you are using is wrong. You should not use it. This is the right model. Apply the fix yourself. That's the thing. The last thing we are doing is also, trying to provide AI interface for our own product. Like how can we make our product available for agents? Right?
Correct.
How can our user interface be AI friendly? So you can basically say, hey, can you find the problem that is there in production that happened yesterday?
Right.
So it should go figure out what is happening, give you, hey, this is the issue that you have. Do you want me to raise a fix, right? That's the direction we're going. That we are calling as JFrog, and this one is basically tool, a platform running on our Artifactory, but completely changed from an AI perspective. AI, interface perspective. That is in private beta. We are basically asking customers to join beta and, start giving us their feedback.
Wonderful. I think that's a monumental shift there and some quite big announcements from JFrog. Thank you so much, Prasanna, for shedding some light on that. You also, highlighted about key features on AppTrust and the AI Catalogue as well. I want to understand from you, why do you think enterprises, particularly in the APAC region, they kind of need these kind of governance layers, especially now that compliance is a key factor?
Absolutely. So what is happening is, with AI adoption picking up, regulators are also figuring out how to actually, handle this animal. Right. So there are more and more regulations coming and also changing.
Correct.
Because, it has to happen so that, we don't get into state where, it is unmanageable. Right. So in that context, AppTrust is built right to answer that question. So the way we are doing it is we are working with the ecosystem. We believe we can't do it alone. We have that clarity. So we are working with all the vendors in the ecosystem, from Sonar, from GitHub, all of them, ServiceNow, and a whole slew of partners, where what happens is, as binary or code moves from one step to other, everyone starts creating evidence into our repository. Right. And we have created all these integrations. And we pack them and we become single source of truth for every binary, every model that is running in production. Right. So at any point in time, you can ask, hey, is this model validated for this? And how can you answer that in an authentic fashion? Correct. So you need a non-repudiable evidence. Right. And that's exactly what we believe. So Artifactory becomes model store, binary store, and also evidence store. Right. So all, connected in a very nice way so that you can ask any query. Superb.
Next, Prasanna, I also would like to understand from you. In 2024, a report by IDC suggested that nearly 65% of enterprises in India plan to integrate AI into their software supply chains by the next coming years. From your point where you sit, are Indian enterprises kind of ready for this kind of shift? And what are the biggest gaps that you have been observing?
Thank you. You're right. I think, focused around India, there is a lot of developers already starting to use AI tools. Right. Because it helps them, right? At some point in time, even if I look at my team, they were doing it without telling their bosses because, it looked like, it's a wrong thing to do, right? Hey, am I using some artificial stuff, right? Now it is more open and we are all encouraging as an industry to use AI because it's not going to replace your job, but it's only going to enhance your job. Absolutely. Right? So that's the direction. So there will be a lot more usage. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of AI adoption even within our company, right? And we are encouraging that. Now, the challenge will be when you see that kind of an adoption, you will have to do it with some clarity on what are the negatives that may happen. Right? So one I spoke of security, right? Model hallucination, vulnerable models, they may attack. There are a lot of examples of that's happening as we speak. Right. In fact, day before yesterday, there was one with NPM, the largest NPM vulnerability that we saw. In this context, and that's where we are coming with the ecosystem solution. Right. And we know we can't do it alone, like I said. Every change that happens or usage that happens, we want to keep on prompting the user saying you're doing right or wrong, right? As per the policy or the regulation that government brings in. Right. It is in context for the developer so that he is always corrected as he maneuvers through the usage of AI. That's where we are headed toward. We're not done, and it's going to take some time, but that's what we think we should do.
Fantastic. And on a very personal note, as someone who has spent years in R&D, what excites you the most about leading engineering teams in an AI-driven world or AI native DevOps era, and what kind of keeps you at night? Can you tell us some of your challenges?
Okay, thank you. When I started engineering, the cost of computer was more expensive than a developer's time, right? So we used to write code on a piece of paper, show it to the manager, he used to correct it. Unless it is corrected, we are not getting computer time, right? So that was the time. Now we have come to an age where we don't write code, right? So it's a big shift. In terms of, what I have seen. Right now, today's developer, where I lose sleep, and I think it will take some more time for us to understand, is what is important to us. Is code or prompt? Right. We need to make sure what is the value we are bringing into the ecosystem. So if everything happens through AI, what is that layer that I'm bringing? What is the domain knowledge? Right. What is that, algorithmic knowledge I am bringing and giving direction to AI to make sure it does what I want to do. Right? I think we need to shift that focus, and this is exactly what I tell all my developers. And if I lose sleep, if we end up using AI to do the wrong thing, that's the worst thing that may happen. We have to be very sensitive to what we want and how we make sure AI does that for us.
Absolutely. And looking ahead, Prasanna, what is your vision for JFrog in India and even globally? How do you see these platforms shaping the region's digital transformation journey over the next 2-3 years?
Awesome. One of JFrog vision, which that we are living by, is liquid software. What we mean by that is, the software size has been big. When the software size is big, there's a chunks of thing, and it will take longer to reach destination. Right. If you reduce the software size and liquefy it, it can flow through the pipe the fastest way. Right? And that, in the example I gave, if agents start doing it, they will reduce the change, right? So they will do for every problem that comes, only that change. Correct. So the size of change is coming down. Right? And they can do far more releases than we could afford. Correct. Right? So from that vision perspective, we are getting there, right? But the problem is, how do you make sure, like I said, the platform supports that kind of a scale, that kind of a speed, with enough governance, with enough security, etc. Right? And that's our focus. While enabling fast releases, safe acceleration, as we call it, is what we are looking at. Right? So that's our vision. Focus on safe acceleration, not just speed. Wonderful. I think that's a very powerful combination, Prasanna, and thank you so much for sharing your vision as well. But before we wrap up, I also have a couple of rapid fire questions for you. Sure. Are you ready? Throw it. Perfect. Let's go ahead. At the DevOps 2025 Conclave today, if you had to describe the energy in one word, what would it be? Engagement. There was a lot of engagement there. They were all anxious to know how to manage this new animal called AI. Correct. So everyone wants to know more details around it. Fantastic. If AI could take off one task off your plate forever, what would you choose? So the dream that I have, not a one-word answer, is developers sit and has given enough context to the code. Right. So when a defect comes, it will find where the defect is, create the environment, reproduce it, raise a PR so that developer can accept the PR. Recognizing the problem itself. Recognizing the problem, solving the problem. Right. All looking at is an acceptance by the developer saying, yeah, it fixed the problem correctly. Superb. And one leadership lesson you have learned the hard way. The hardest one for me is not letting go of a feature, right, which is in the border. It is not successful, neither failure, right? So making that decision is always hard because you're emotionally involved since you have created it. The most exciting announcement from JFrog at SwampUp this year in one word. Go AI all the way, right? And be confident of releasing the right things. Perfect. I think this has been a very insightful and very engaging session. Thank you so much for your time, Prasanna, and thank you so much for giving us a glimpse and your vision as well. Thank you so much, Simran. Thank you. Thank you so much.